I'm Rachel Poley with Ari Meghlen, and we're your hosts for the Merry Writer podcast. We're on episode 70, and this week we're doing another fun Would You Rather game, but Reader's Edition. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening so you never miss a show. And if you enjoyed this episode, please give it a like. So we did another one of these back on episode 30, which is a really long time ago at this point. But it was a Would You Rather game, and they were all writer-related questions. So if you haven't listened to that, the link to it is in the description below. Go ahead and listen to it. But this time, we'll be asking each other reading-related questions. So I'm going to go ahead and get started and ask Ari, would you rather have a friend who loses your books or dog ears them?
I hate this question, but I also love this question. I think I'd rather have a friend that loses my books, because most of my friends are pretty good, and I think if they lost it, they would probably feel obliged to replace it. I think if someone dog ears them, it's a different thing, because you still got the physical copy, and the fact that they dog eared it meant that it doesn't really bother them, so they would probably not understand why it bothered me, and it would bother me. I hate dog-eared copies. I have two books that are dog-eared. One, which is Watership Down by Richard Adams, that I got for 50p at a charity car boot sale. So I don't mind that, because it was a charity book. It was I bought it when I was like 13, and I don't mind that that's dog-eared, because it was, I was mooching around for good books there. And the other one is one I dropped in the bath, and it just became the bath book. So it's a bit dog-eared, but that's my fault, and so I don't mind that. But yeah, I would go a bit mental if someone just handed me back a book I'd lent them that was dog-eared, which is probably why I don't lend books. I'm just not like that anymore. I just don't trust people.
Yeah, I don't lend out books anymore either, to be honest. Well, that's a lie. I think I gave a couple of books to my cousin, but I have such a totally unpopular opinion. I don't mind it when books are dog-eared. I find that to be a sign that they're well loved. And what bothers me more than dog-eared pages is the spine being cracked.
Oh, yes.
Which is kind of weird, because obviously you have to open the book in order to read it. So over time, the spine is going to crack. But when I'm at a bookstore and I'm opening hardcover books to, read the summary on the inside, I open it at such a weird angle, and then I'm turning my head to try to read it because it's brand new. And if I don't buy it, I don't want to just crack the spine, and then the person who actually does buy it, they're not going to have that satisfaction of doing so. And but also the other thing is, in the past, whenever I have loaned books to people, I've never gotten them back. I don't know if they've lost my books, but ultimately, in the end, I have to go and buy myself a new copy. So that's another reason I would rather them dog ear the pages, because that way at least I would get my book back.
I think it's mainly because I'm the sort of person that would just be like, have you got my book yet? I'm still waiting for that book. Where's my book? Where is my book? And I would just shame them into buying me another copy. Which is why I don't lend books, because then I don't have to do that to people. But cracked spine. I can't think of anything worse. I've seen people, this is one of the reasons I don't lend books. One of my friends once, I lent them a book, and she literally in front of me, when you crack it and then bend the pages round, so you're holding it, like she did that in front of me, and it was just like, are you freaking for real? And it was like, wow, you're never getting any of my books ever again. And yeah, I don't think I ever speak to her anymore. Not for that reason, but it's like, if I can let people like that go, they're just chaos. We don't need that.
Well, that's like when people, instead of using bookmarks, or if they put their book down for a second to get up and go get something, they turn the book over so that they keep their page. And for a hardcover book, I guess it's not as bad, but especially if it's paperback, then the pages get stuck like that. And then when you try to close it, there's like that gap.
Yep.
It doesn't fully close it. That drives me nuts.
Exactly. There's always something you can use as a bookmark. There's always like a receipt, or a piece of hair. I don't care. There's something you can always use. So
yeah.
Okay, we'll move on to mine. Okay, Rachel, would you rather be a librarian or own your own bookstore?
I would rather own my own bookstore. That is a very simple question because my sister and I have actually talked about this, and I highly doubt it will ever happen. It's just like one of those like far-fetched dreams that we have. But I would love to own my own bookstore and showcase indie books and also have a cafe because coffee is delicious. As a librarian, I would most likely have to answer to somebody else because I would have a boss, and that's no fun. And um, no coffee. There's no, I've never seen a librarian that has a cafe in it. I've seen bookstores with cafes, and I would like to have my bookstore be like a safe place for readers, for writers, and like, showcase big publishers, but also indie authors, and just have lots and lots of delicious coffee. Because you get, oh, and a fireplace. You gotta have a fireplace. I have this all mapped out. Long story short.
This is becoming a giant bookstore. It's like, wow, there's a
Big
fireplace,
skyscraper.
bouncy castle. Oh my god, everything.
Yes. Oh, that'd be cool. That'd be really cool.
Indoor bounce castle in the far corner so the kids can. Yeah. Oh yeah.
It'll be a tour of the bookstore.
Yeah, couches to read, quiet area for people to sit quietly and read.
With
and
kitties.
Yes, like a kitty cafe.
Yeah.
Oh, I can get behind that.
Guys, the Merry Writer is gonna be a brick and mortar store. Here we go.
It'll be the Merry Reader.
Oh my God! Yes. Merch coming soon, guys.
It might have to be a franchise because obviously I'm in Northern Ireland and Rachel is in America, so we might have to do that.
The more the merrier.
You didn't. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna just like trash this by saying I would choose librarian.
I was like, I already do enough shit. I don't need to like own another business.
I think I'd get stressed having to deal with the competition. You're already competing with Amazon and all the crap they do, and there's big places like Waterstones and Barnes and Noble. I think as much as I love the idea of like like the corner bookstore, and it'd be like this quirky little thing, or even one of those where it's like there's just a door, and if you really if you know about it, you just go in. It's almost like a little hobbit hole kind of full of books. I love the idea of that, but at the same time, I don't know. I think being a librarian, libraries, especially over here, are doing really okay. Sorry. Libraries over here are doing okay. They had a rash of shutting a load of them down, and then it seems to have perked back up a bit. And there's new books always coming in, so I kind of like that. And yeah, I don't know. I'd be okay as a head librarian, of course. I want like full control over stuff coming in and like fining people who dog-ear books and break their spines.
The long list of rules.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, so I think I would. But the thing is, you're giving you both sides. But yeah, I would choose librarian.
I find it interesting that usually when we do these type of questions, we think alike, and so far we're 2 for 2, where we have opposite answers. We're very similar writing wise, but when it comes to reading, we're very different. Apparently.
Exactly, that's it.
All right. So with that said, would you rather have someone ruin the ending of a book for you or never finish a book you were reading?
Oh, that's a really stressful question. If it was a good book, I think I'd have to go with someone ruining it, because the idea of reading a good book and not finishing it would probably give me really bad anxiety. I mean, even now, I still haven't forgiven one of my favorite authors who started to write a trilogy and wrote 2 books and never finished. And it's not one of those where each book is a standalone and it just has its ending and it's fine. It's like where's the climax? Where is the end of this da-da? And it still grates me to this day. And I'm talking, it's been decades. I'm still stressed that he never finished. So the idea of reading a good book and not having that satisfaction, even if it's a bad ending, you need that, conclusion. So I think I'd rather someone ruin the ending of a book and then I still read it, because I hate people who ruin things, ruin ends of movies and things like that. But at the same time, I can still push through and enjoy it, because like I have watched movies that I didn't know were books and I've enjoyed the movie, and then I found out it was a book, and usually I like to read the book first, and then I've gone and read the book and it hasn't ruined the movie, it hasn't ruined the book, me knowing what the ending was. So I think if I had to, that would be my answer.
I think you said that pretty well, and I gotta agree with you. I think for me, I would rather have someone ruin the ending of a book rather than not finishing something. It is very rare when I do not finish a book, even if I don't like it. Like I still force myself to read it because I'm confident that it might get better. And I think there's only been 2 books in my entire life that I've never finished reading. But I never cared about spoilers, whether it's books or TV shows or movies. I never really minded when people, spoiled the ending or some big plot twist for me or anything like that. So if, and I will say, usually when somebody gives me spoilers, they always ask first. So in that case, I don't know if I'm overthinking this question at this point, but if someone is about to ruin the ending of a book, chances are they might be like, "Oh, did you finish reading this? Do you mind if I tell you what happened?" Or if they know that I'm reading it, then they might not even ask at all. They'll just be like, "Oh, let me know when you finish."
I wish I had friends and family like that. My friends and family are like, "Did you get to the part when insert spoiler?" And it's like, no, I didn't. Thanks. I didn't know they died. Thanks. And they're like, "Oh, so you must be at this point then." No, I'm not there either. Movies, books. This is why I don't talk to them with family members or friends, because I've had so many ruined, and I do hate spoilers. Like if I go to the cinema and there's a trailer, I will give it 10 seconds, and if I like what I've seen in 10 seconds, I will usually close my eyes and just sort of lean back, because I've gone and seen so many trailers where they do enough where you can tell which is the end scene, and they've shoved it in the trailer. It's not a surprise.
Yeah.
And so I don't even, and most of them are like action movies, so it's not like I'm hearing something where they're going to tell me what the ending is. It's usually a visual, so I just close my eyes and just let it pass, and then I'll watch it. So yeah, I'm not a big spoiler fan, but I definitely couldn't cope with not finishing. That would no.
But you know what? If somebody gives you spoilers, it's an easier conversation to have. Like I know, like I don't go to the movie theaters at all. So whenever my sister goes to see a movie that we both want to see, and she'll come home and she'll rave about it if she enjoyed it, and I'll be like, great, I look forward to watching it when it comes out on DVD or wherever, and she'll be explaining bits and pieces of the movie to me of what she liked and what she didn't like and stuff, but it'll all be spoiler free, and she'll be like, so this happened, I won't tell you exactly about this part, but I can tell you this, it's not too spoilery, and it just makes for a really long conversation. Like I don't mind hearing it, but at the same time it's like, if you just told me what happens, we could just have this conversation and be done with it.
You see, I'm a big movie fan. I love going to the cinema to see the movies, so I get really angry if it's like, someone just blurts something out and it's like, "Oh, did you see that special bit in the middle?" It's like, I'm literally queuing for the movie. Of course I haven't seen it. So it's like those are my conversations. It's usually swearing at someone for telling me something I
that's fair.
specifically wouldn't want them. So. We're going to mix it up now with a really, really random question. Rachel, would you rather read about zombies or read about unicorns?
Unicorns.
Unicorns? Was that you, or is that the American way of saying it? Unicorns.
No, that was me. I would much rather read about unicorns. If I'm going to read about dead people, I want to read about like ghosts and paranormal and stuff. I don't like zombies. Zombies creep me out. And I don't like the idea of okay, when I think of zombies, I think of horror.
Yes.
But they're dead. But they're alive. So if I'm going to read about dead people that are alive, I'd rather read about paranormal stuff.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I think like I don't mind some zombie movies, but I'm not a big fan. I know we're talking about books, but there's a reason I'm saying this. I don't like zombie movies because 9 times out of 10, there isn't a happy ending. You know, there's me spoiling it. But if you didn't know that,
what the heck, Ari?
You obviously weren't into watching zombie movies if you didn't know that. But usually, either most people get murdered by zombies, and then like maybe 1 or 2 people survive, and they go on the run. But then there's usually like something that shows that the world has been taken over and they're dead too. There's no way they can survive. Kind of feel to it. I don't mind things not having a happy ending, but the inevitable bad end, the inevitable you're going to die from either starvation or zombies, is just, it doesn't work for me. I like that hint that maybe someone can survive. So my answer to this question: zombie unicorns. I would love to read about zombie unicorns.
What? Real? You can't.
Yes. Zombie unicorns. There's somebody out there writing it.
No. No. The question is zombies or unicorns. It's not zombie unicorns.
Oh, I'm combining them. Come on, zombie unicorns. That's gotta be great.
No.
After elves.
That's creepy.
Yeah. Chomping on like little critters.
No.
I'm gonna make myself cry thinking about that, but yeah.
Oh my God, no. Zombie unicorn. I don't even want to imagine what that would look like.
I will write that story. That's my new short story. I'm going to write about zombie unicorns.
Absolutely not. I would read that though, actually, because it does sound fascinating to some extent, but no.
This could be the new trend. We've done werewolf trends, we've done vampire trends, we've done like dystopian teenagers battling trends. So zombie unicorns, it's the new trend, calling it 2021.
Yeah, who's really combined like mythical creatures together? I mean, I know that there are some mythical creatures that are already kind of like combined, like centaurs and stuff, because they're half human, half horse, but like no one's taken, or maybe people have and I'm just sheltered. I don't know. But you might be onto something here. I don't 100% condone it, but you might be onto something.
I do remember years ago I did an art series, and it was I called it like necrosteeds, and it was like literally different types of horses that were like dead. Ooh. But like zombies, but not. It just actually weird. So I just remembered this, and I just did them as normal. But you could actually do it where you could make zombie unicorns, zombie kelpies, zombie pegasi.
Oh.
There's quite a lot of like horsey, equine, mythical creatures. So you could make them like like a equine steed, zombie necro. See, you got a whole series. Zombie unicorns, zombie kelpie. I mean, kelpies, to be fair, already feel a bit zombie-ish. They're already dragging people to their deaths and devouring them. But make them undead.
I might ruin your idea for you in a second. But if you're going to combine zombies and unicorns together, unicorns are typically like sunshine and rainbows and sparkly. Are you going to create sparkly zombies?
It depends, because some of the cultural mythologies, I think in the UK, have unicorns as quite violent. They would impale people with their horns.
Oh.
So yeah, the first unicorn stuff I ever read when I was younger was about impaling people. So I might have to look into that. Yeah, it was very, you had to sort of start, the whole concept was you stood in front of a tree, and when it ran at you, you moved and it got stuck, the horn got stuck, and that's how you could cut it off. None of this, some virgin sitting in the forest singing. That's very Disney. It was, you trick it to get its horn in the tree, and then you slice it off. So sad.
I was trying to make a sparkly vampire joke, and that just...
Oh, missed that.
And I...
Sparkly.
You know what? I'm just gonna... You're talking about fairy tales and Disney, so I'm gonna go right ahead into our next question. Segue. Would you rather read fairy tales by never watching another Disney movie again, or never be able to read another fairy tale, but be able to continue watching Disney movies? So basically...
That's a very complicated question.
Yeah, so basically, would you rather always read fairy tales and never watch a Disney movie, or only watch Disney movies and never read fairy tales?
That's an interesting one, because I do love a good fairy tale retelling. Would that be classed as like acceptable to watch Disney movies and a retelling, or is it like no?
I don't know, Ari. You changed the previous question, so take it as you want.
I mean, I do enjoy Disney movies. I think the older ones are definitely a bit dated.
Oh yeah.
And that. So I'll be honest, if I had to pick, technically it comes down to movies or books. I would probably pick the books. I would probably be okay saying, you know what, I've seen enough Disney movies, I don't have to see anymore. But I really do like reading books about fairy tales.
That's fair. I'll take that. I'll take that as an answer. I think for me, I would rather read the fairy tales as well, because I too really like fairy tale retellings. And also, I've read a few of like the original fairy tales, like, Cinderella, Snow White, and all that. But I would like to learn more about them. So it's like I've already seen the Disney movies. I know what happens. I've watched them a million times. So it would reading different versions of the fairy tales and reading retellings and stuff, it would be like you're getting something new each time with the same characters.
Yeah. And like, I mean, Disney's doing okay, but at the same time, it's like they're now moving from cartoons to live action and everything. I feel like it's like the constant retread.
Yeah, they're just recycling their ideas that they're running out.
Yeah, and it's not even like, oh, it's a retelling. It's like, oh, it's where they've taken something, unusual, like the author Marissa Meyer, who did like Cinder and Scarlet and Winter, which were retelling fairy tales, and it was very different. I mean, like Cinderella is set, it's very almost like steampunky, not steampunky, but it's, there's Cinderella's technically a cyborg. It's like, that's very different. Yeah. Whereas Disney is literally following this exact same story, just using live animation. So it's not like they're doing a retelling. That's the difference. They are just rehashing stuff. So.
Right. Yeah. I actually read a retelling of Aladdin, and I can't remember the title or the author to save my life, and I apologize. But I was really looking forward to it because the series, it's kind of like a what if series. So there's a bunch of different books for all different Disney movies. And Aladdin, I think, was the first one that came out. And it was basically, I think it was what if Jasmine got the lamp first?
All right.
I think I might be misremembering it, but the first chunk of the book was like the Disney movie script, like almost word for word. It was very strange to read, and I was like, did you even, I don't know if this person just like hit play on the Disney movie and they were just writing down what all the characters were saying up until the point that they wanted to change the story or what, but it was very jarring to, I was like, this is the Disney movie.
Yeah. Isn't that copyrighted? If they're literally following the script almost word for word, wouldn't that be a copyright violation?
Yeah, it was very close. And I was like, this is kind of nice that I can hear the characters' voices in my head, but this is a little too close.
Just a little. Yeah. It's like, yeah, we changed it. It's like, yeah, but if the first part is literally the exact same thing, you've not changed it.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, talking about fairy tales, we'll throw in the last question, which would be, would you rather live in a fairy tale or in a romance novel?
Well, when you say it like that, definitely fairy tale.
I think all romance, aren't they all sort of like, oh my goodness, this kind of softly sweeping, you look at the front covers of romance novels and they're almost always a bit, wuthering on some, yes. More, I don't read
I don't either. I read books with a little romance in it, but that's about it. So I would definitely rather live in a fairy tale because at least then there's a good chance of me being a princess.
True.
And I would have an animal companion who I may or may not be able to speak to. So that'd be cool. And I would still get a prince for the most part, maybe. I don't know. There's more and more movies coming out now where the women don't get with the guy, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
there is that chance that you do have romance within the fairy tale. So I think being part of the fairy tale, you would kind of get the best of both worlds, but in a better way. Because you'd have a castle too.
That's true.
With a giant kitty cafe bookstore inside.
Are you just trying to become like Belle from Beauty and the Beast, where she had the giant library and it's like,
oh yeah, that'd be cool.
You know,
yeah. I like it.
To be fair, you could end up as the Wicked Witch.
Oh, I didn't even think about. Well,
yeah, no guarantee you're gonna be the princess.
That is true, but if I end up being the Wicked Witch, then I'd have cool powers.
That's true. Great fashion sense.
Harder, so I'd win.
You know, Maleficent had a great outfit. So.
Yes, that is true. She's got a cool scepter.
And she had an animal companion.
Yeah. Who wouldn't want to be the villain? That should have been that bonus question. Would you rather be the hero or the villain in the book?
Screw being a princess. Evil queen it is.
I know, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to ruin this.
Really?
Because it depends. Because if we're talking Grimm's fairy tales, where they're hacking feet apart,
and come on,
finding themselves on thorns, now do you still want to go?
Well, I didn't think of it that way. I was thinking of Disney movies.
Technically, some of those are like some of the, earlier ones. I think even like Hans Christian Andersen, I think he was the one that did Little Mermaid. I think even that had a little bit of a darker a sense of like how she got her legs. I don't think it was like, oh, look, magic. I think there was something worse. So, yeah.
Oh, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Whatever, I'm sticking with my answer.
I was just thinking, it's like, you know what? I'd still take Grimm's fairy tales over some romance twaddle.
There would never be a dull moment.
That's it, there's, as you said, still castles, still magic powers, still weird animals, Depending on who you are, you might not get, maimed by the villain. Possible.
Unicorns.
Unicorns? Things like that.
Please zombie unicorns.
Yeah. If it's a Grimm fairy tale, it might just be that. Whereas romance novels, no, it's just like, oh my gosh, I've got to get a man. It's like, no, you don't.
Yeah, no thanks.
And by the way, we're not picking on romance writers, because you know what? There's people out there who really, really love reading just romance novels, and great that you're writing them. We're not, but it's not our thing. That's why we're saying this. But
right?
obviously,
Yeah.
We're not trying to offend anyone who writes romance, but no.
I don't even know what this episode was, but we hope you guys enjoyed it. But let us know what your answers are to some of these questions in the comments or on Twitter using the hashtag The Merry Writer Podcast. And if you want to get some extra content, you can head on over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/The Merry Writer Podcast. You can support our show, and for as little as $1 a month, you can get extra bonus content, including mini episodes. Yay! So tune in next week for another episode of The Merry Writer Podcast, where we ask all the right questions. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.
This podcast is brought to you by Writer's Block. We hate our brains. The music titled Inspired is by Kevin MacLeod, licensed under Creative Commons